countdown for Mani Ratnam's epic Ponniyin Selvan has begun. And its lead actor, superstar Chiyaan Vikram's fiery speech at a promotional event on the Chola dynasty that struck a chord with the audience. This speech, his monologue, has gone completely viral. And essentially, there's been a huge debate over Ponniyin Selvan about why we haven't celebrated our Chola legacy as much, whether in films or otherwise. I just want to directly take you through exactly what Vikram said that struck such a chord with people across.
England is so illustrious, but England were invaded by the Vikings and Europe was in the dark ages during the 9th century. They had nothing going on. You talk about superpowers today. The 9th century, all this happened when we had the biggest maritime naval thing in the world. And it went all the way to Bali, all the way to Malaysia, and went till we sent emissaries to China, friend. We all go to the pyramids, we go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Someone said something very nicely. He said, we are actually appreciating a building that doesn't stand. It's falling over and wow, let's take a picture, let's take a selfie, and we're getting excited. But we have temples today that stand and they didn't use plaster. Do you know that for this particular stone, they had to use a ramp, which was 6 kilometers long. They didn't have plaster. It's withstood 6 earthquakes. You know what happens when an earthquake comes? Without plaster. What they have done is they have an outer wall. Then inside that they have a corridor of 6 feet, which is an open, just a corridor. And then they have another structure inside which goes all the way to the top, which is why they can withstand earthquakes, which is why they stood so long. You know what was the superpower doing then? America hadn't been discovered by Columbus till 500 years later. So think about our culture, think about how advanced we were. We need to be proud of this. It's nothing to do with North India, South India, West India, East India. It is, we are Indians and we need to feel proud about that.
Truly amazing message that, and it's really resonated with so many people across on social media. For years also, there's been a lot of talk about this, about how Bollywood has had epic after epic doled out on the Mughal dynasty, its legacy, its history, as grand as it is, and how it ought to be covered. But Mani Ratnam's latest epic, Ponniyin Selvan 1, is stirring the hornet's nest. Why? Because its focus is on the Cholas dynasty. The Bollywood has so far ignored very few films really on the Cholas, just about 1 or 2, and those 2 are from, in fact, the likes of Kollywood.
வானில் ஒரு பெரும்பால் விண்மீன் தோன்றியது. சோழ அரசகுலத்தில் ஒருவரை அந்த விண்மீன் பலிகொள்ளும்.
In an industry that has largely ignored it, India's greatest ancient dynasty, the Cholas, are all set for an epic correction. Amidst a wave of sentiment over the ancient southern dynasty being sidestepped by historians and filmmakers, one of India's greatest movie makers, Mani Ratnam, is all set to bring the Cholas back. While the Mughal Empire has justifiably seen grand productions in Bollywood and beyond, a stubborn sticking point has remained: that the older and grander Chola dynasty hasn't received its rightful due.
The Cholas were so far ahead. They had achieved so much. They had, created so much that it still stands today. There's been a lot of predecessors who have done so much, who have achieved so much, who have conquered so much, who had an amazing naval force and things like that. So it's something that we can put out.
The issue continues to be a divisive one, with historians either welcoming renewed interest in the largely ignored Cholas or wondering whether the new fascination is manufactured and contrived. Either way, thousands of years later, the all-star cast of Mani Ratnam's next film know that an enormous legacy sits on their shoulders. The film comes at a time when the public and political discourse has become increasingly disenchanted over ancient indigenous dynasties like the Cholas and Mauryas, failing to attract filmmakers who have preferred to flock to subject matter over Mughals, perceived in this face-off as invaders. Obviously, the divide has been a point of politics too. India's Home Minister had this to say earlier this year.
इतिहास लिखने वालों ने साम्राज्यों का जग भी जिक्र आया तो मुगल साम्राज्य की ही चर्चा करी। चालुक्य साम्राज्य 600 साल चला, मौर्यों ने 550 साल तक समग्र राष्ट्र पर अफगानिस्तान से लेकर लंका तक राज्य किया, मगर इस सब पर संदर्भ ग्रंथ नहीं लिखे।
According to one estimate, Mani Ratnam's new magnum opus will be only the 6th Indian film ever made that's set in the Chola Empire. The number of films set in the Mughal Empire, including the blockbuster Jodha Akbar, is at least 5 times that number at over 30 films, many of them with their own enduring legacies. As a vibrant and sometimes vicious debate intensifies over India's ignored dynasties, will Mani Ratnam's upcoming film correct what is deemed by millions to be an injustice in our lifetimes? The countdown to Ponniyin Selvan 1 has begun. Bureau Report, India Today.